Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the Focus Indonesia Conference Committee for giving me the opportunity to present the articles. My name Kopadia Winata from Sangga Buana University, PKP Bandung. The title of my article is Implementation of Supervisory Academic Supervision to Improve the Professional Competence of Islamic Education Teacher in the Pandemic Era. The introductions, the competence of PAE teachers need to be improved so that learning objective can be achieved by what it says. Based on observations in the field, there are still PAE teachers who are not optimal in carrying out the learning process. PAE teachers still do not take advantage of the technological advance in teachings. PAE teacher cannot evaluate and study the process and learning outcome of students. Lack of analysis of learning conditions, results, and less use of media in learnings can motivate student interest. PAE teachers need continuous guidance from supervisors so that the learning process can be carried out as expected. Guidance carried out by supervisor is needs to improve the competence of PAE teacher both in class management, lesson planning, determining learning methods and models as well as learning evaluations. The purpose of supervision is the best to increase the competence of PI teachers so that the learning process can be carried out effectively. Method. This article aims to examine the implementation of supervisory academic supervision to improve the professional competence of PI teacher in the pandemic era. The method used in this study is the qualitative method of analysis. Researchers collect data through observation, documentation, and interview with informant related to this research. The data obtained were then analyzed by performing data analysis techniques through several tests, namely data reductions, data display, and data verification. Result and discussion. PAE supervisor academic supervision concepts. Supervision is coaching activity that is planned to assist teachers and other school employees in carrying out their work actively. Supervision is an effort to provide the service so that teachers become more professional in carrying out their duties to serve students. According to Fermenance, the role of ministerial relations, number 2 of 2012, chapter 1, article 1, paragraph 4, Islamic religious education supervisor who are called supervisor of Islamic religious education in school are civil servants who are appointed to functional position of Islamic religious education. Supervisor whose duties, responsibilities, and authorities are supervise the implementation of Islamic religious education in school. PI teacher professional competence. Teachers have an important role in helping students to develop their potential. The interests, talents, abilities, and potential of students can be developed well when they receive teacher sessions. The teachers are professional educators with the main task of educating, teaching, guiding, directing, training, assessing, and evaluating students in early childhood education through formal education, basic education, and secondary education. Teacher competence is a combination of personal, scientific, technological, social, and spiritual abilities that cover from the standards competence of the teaching profession, which includes mastery of the material, understanding of student, educational learning, personal development, and professionalism. From Mulyasa. 20 in 60 years. The purpose of the supervisor, academic supervision of VI teachers. Academic supervision is intended to guide VI teacher to have the competencies in the learning process, both pedagogic, personality, social, and professional competence. This on Minister of Religion Regulation number 2 of 2012, VI supervisors at school have the authority to one-to-one provide input, advice, and guidance in preparations, implementation, and evaluation of education and or learning of Islamic education to school, principal and agencies in charge of education affairs in district or cities. The seconds monitor and assess the performance of a teacher and formulate the necessary follow-up suggestions. The third, guidance to pay teachers. The fourth, consider the assignment of implementation of duties of a teacher to the authorities official. And the fifth, considers the assignment of the implementations of the duties and placement of a teacher to the principal and authorized official. The implementation of academic supervision of a supervisory VI teacher in the pandemic era, academic supervision of learning supervisions, namely supervision activities that embraces supervisors' observation on academic problems, namely things that are directly in the learning environment when students are in the process of learning something. The implementation of academic supervision of VI supervisors to improve the professional competence of VI teachers can be carried out through the following stages. E, observation of VI teacher action in class. V, coaching for VI teacher. C, assist and guide VI teacher in the learning process. D, developing teacher leadership. The various academic supervision of a supervisor for teacher in the pandemic era, the implementations of academic supervision of a teacher in the pandemic era is not like in normal time. There are several obstacles experienced by supervisors when conducting academic supervision of a teacher during a pandemic. The obstacles that exist in the implementation of academic supervision during the pandemic era are E, online observation and supervisions. B, lack of competency of a supervisor. And C, the stigma of VI supervisor find VI teacher error. The conclusions. Academic supervision is required to increase the competence of a teacher, which is very needed in the learning process. Supervision can motivate teachers to increase their creativity when carrying out teachings and learning activities. Supervision is here to provide encouragements and solutions to teachers when experiencing difficulties in the learning process. The implementation of academic supervision of a supervisor to improve the professional competence of a teachers can be done through the following stages: observing the actions of a teacher in the classroom, coaching by teachers, guiding by teacher in the learning process, and developing teacher leadership. The third, the obstacle faced in academic supervision in the pandemic era are by supervision observation of a teacher conducts online, the lack of competence of a supervisor, and the stigma of supervision that is looking for a teacher false. Thank you for all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.